welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we are diving back into Eclipse for Chapter 11.
We are now. I'm not going to detail summary everything that happened, but before I do that, I should probably talk about the social medias. You can find us on all of our social medias. They are linked below in the description. We would highly, highly recommend that you like, subscribe, and follow. I do think we have some pretty good content. We have, besides our Twilight episodes or our book reactions on Saturdays, we have our Who Knows What Wednesdays where we talk about true crime, mystery, spooky stuff during October, just
whatever we want to talk about, really.
Whatever we want to talk about. And there are separate playlists for those on YouTube. Jess has gotten those splitting up.
Split up?
Split up. I was like, splitting.
We're down south now.
We're southern all of a sudden. I guess I'm still hung up on the, we haven't come up with a name for the episode yet, but the Souter family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one, let's see. Both parts of that should be up by now for you guys, so go check it out.
Ooh.
That was an interesting case.
A very interesting case. I won't give you spoilers if you hadn't checked it out yet. Where are we going? Summary. There we go. Okay, so what's happened thus far? A lot.
Edward is meh.
Edward's meh. But you can watch the other episodes to find out. But as a refresher, where we left off, Bella is going to La Push. She is joining Jacob for a bonfire, and they've just done the divorced kid handoff where Edward drives her up to the boundary and Jacob takes over. And in a disgusting moment of a measuring contest, who has more testosterone, Edward embraces Bella and gives her a too passionate for public kiss. And then she goes over to the other side and like Jake wraps his arms around her and it's just
uncomfortable. It's like, I said this in our last episode, it's like when our dogs are together for play dates and one of them pees and then the next one pees on top of it.
Yes. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and the reason they're doing the handoff thing is because a new vampire has gone to Bella's room, none of them know, and has collected Bella's stuff for whatever reason. So Bella's basically now on 24-hour watch.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that was all the important things. Oh, yeah. On a side note, because I know my cousin watches this, Jody, thank you for the shirt. I appreciate it so much. Apparently Jess has a shirt coming. It just hasn't arrived in the mail yet, but this was here today, so I love it. I need it. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm just going to start sending it as a response to people when they ask me to do things. I'll be like, nah. I can't. I'm in law school.
Yep.
I can't. I'm in law school. I hate myself, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But yes, figured I'd say because I know Jody watches these.
Yes.
For sure she likes the Twilight ones.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you.
All right. Chapter 11 is Legends. And so far, this is my favorite chapter of the book. Bella is at the bonfire with the group, and Jacob is leaned back against Bella's knees as he roasts a hot dog. Paul asks if he can have it, and Jacob gives it to him. Bella suddenly realizes that the sun has already set. She completely lost track of time. It was easier being with the group than she expected. She was nervous at first that they would be mad at Jacob for bringing her and ruining their party, but when she showed up, Embry immediately greeted her, saying, "Hey, vampire girl." Quill jumped up and gave her a high five and kissed her on the cheek. And after sitting down, she sat next to Emily and she squeezed her hand.
Aww.
Other than a few teasing complaints, mostly from Paul, Bella felt like she belonged there. Billy was also there, as well as Quill's grandfather, Sue Clearwater, and her two children, Leah and Seth, and the rest of the pack, including Kim.
Wait, who's Kim again?
Kim is who imprinted to Kim? It's Embry. Embry imprinted on Kim.
That's right. And is Seth part of the pack?
Not yet.
Did I spoil that for you?
No.
Oh, you knew? Okay.
Well, I mean, he's not a part of the pack yet. I'm assuming he becomes part of the pack because this whole night, like they're like telling him, "Hey, this is what you're going to turn into."
Ah,
Like so.
okay. I was like, wait, shoot.
No, that was clear as day where that was going.
Okay.
So
You'll
no,
like Seth.
yeah.
He's a sweetie.
So it sounded like Sue took over Harry's spot on the council. Bella wondered if her children then became members of this secret society. She then looked at Leah and thought how horrible it must be to sit across from Sam and Emily. God awful.
Yeah. For those who don't remember, Emily and Leah, no, sorry. Sam and Leah were sweethearts. Absolutely loved each other. Plans to get married. Emily is Leah's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Sam wolfed out, like, you can't tell your significant other unless you're imprinted on them about the wolf stuff. So, like, he couldn't tell Leah anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Emily came to town to visit Leah, and, like, Sam imprinted on her. And then Emily had Leah be a bridesmaid in their wedding.
I don't think they've gotten married yet, have they?
I thought they did.
Did they? Oh, I don't remember.
Because I remember us talking about it. Like, oh my God, she's a bridesmaid?
Okay,
That's
well,
so mean.
Either way, that's awful.
Yes, because
That's
like they had
horrible.
such a close sister relationship. So
Yeah.
like it's just truly an unfortunate situation.
Oh, it's so sad.
That's so sad.
So Seth had grown up too. Bella wondered if he would be subjected to the same fate as the rest of the boys. Bella watched Jared. Oh, Jared. Jared with Kim. Sorry, my bad.
Which one was Jared?
There's Paul, Jared, Sam, Quill, Embry, and Jacob.
Oh,
My bad. I blanked Jared out. I apologize. Jared imprinted on Kim. That's my bad. The way he stared at her was like a blind man seeing sun for the first time, and it made Bella see Kim in a whole new light as well. Watching them, Bella better understood what Jacob had told her about imprinting. Bella murmured to Jacob after a long while that it's getting late, but he tells her to not start all that yet. The best part is coming. This is technically a council meeting. It's Quill's first one, so he hasn't heard the stories yet. Or more so, hearing them for the first time, knowing they're true. Kim, Seth, and Leah are all first-timers as well. Jacob moved back to be beside Bella. He put his arm around her and in a low voice tells her the histories they thought were legends and how they came to be. Emily took out a pen and paper, and Bella realized that there were 4 members and not 3. So, like, she's like the note taker for the elders or whoever's in charge, the council. Yeah.
So wait, you said Emily or Leah took or Sue?
Emily.
Oh,
Emily. So Sue took Harry's place. So it's Emily, Sue, Billy, and then Quill's grandfather.
gotcha. And Emily's in charge of the minutes of that meeting.
Yeah. Billy cleared his throat and began to tell the story. In the beginning, the tribe settled here and became skilled shipbuilders and fishermen. The tribe was small. There were others, and their tribe was too small to hold it. A larger tribe moved against them, and they took to their ships to escape. They don't know who was the first to discover this power, but I forgot about these names. I am not going to pronounce these names correctly. I apologize. Kahelia, Kaheleha, was the first great spirit chief, and he used the magic to defend their land. He and his warriors left the ships with their spirits, and the women stayed to watch over their bodies. They physically couldn't touch their enemy, but they blew fierce winds to their enemies' camps and could make screaming in the winds that would scare their enemies. The story also goes that the animals could see their spirits and understand them, so the animals would help them. They wreaked havoc on the intruders. They even turned their own dogs against them. The survivors scattered, calling the harbor a cursed place. The dogs ran wild when the spirit warriors released them. The Quileutes returned to their bodies, and their wives victorious. Generations went by, and then Taha Aki, Taha space Aki, came, the last great spirit chief. He was known for wisdom and peace. The people lived well and content under his care. One man, Utlapa, Utlapa, wasn't content though. Yultapa was one of Chief Taha Aki's strongest spirit warriors, a powerful man. He thought the people should use their magic to expand and enslave Hos, Hohs, and the Makas, and build an empire. When the warriors were in their spirit self, they knew each other's thoughts. Taha Aki saw what Yultapa dreamt of and was mad. Yultapa was forced to leave and was commanded to never use his spirit self again. Yultapa was strong, but he was outnumbered, so he left and waited for his chance to get revenge against the chief. Even in time of peace, the spirit chief was vigilant to protect his people. One day, Taha Aki left to go to the mountain and leave his body to survey the land, and Yutapa planned to kill him. He hid in the rocks and waited until he was sure that Taha Aki's spirit was far away. Taha Aki initially knew instantly that Yutapa was in the spirit world with him, and he knew of his murderous plans. He raced back to his body, but he was not fast enough. When he returned to his body, it was gone. Yutapa's body was abandoned, and he also didn't leave Taha Aki with an escape. He cut his own body's throat with Taha Aki's hands. So essentially, Yutapa took Taha Aki's body and then killed his body. Taha Aki followed his body down the mountain and screamed at Yutapa, but he ignored him. Taha Aki watched as Yutapa took his place as chief for the Quileutes. For weeks, he ensured people believed that he was Taha Aki. Then, Yutapa started making changes. First was forbidding any warrior to enter the spirit world. He claimed that he had visions of danger. Yutapa was scared for anyone to enter the spirit world and hear Taha Aki, and he was scared to enter the spirit world because he knew Taha Aki would be there waiting to reclaim his body. His initial dreams of conquest with the spirit warriors weren't possible now. He became a burden. He sought privileges that Taha Aki never requested and refused to work alongside his warriors. He even took 3 wives. Taha Aki eventually tried to bring a wolf down to kill the false chief. This didn't work though because the wolf killed a young man protecting the false chief, and Taha Aki felt so bad that he ordered the wolf away. The stories say it isn't easy to be a spirit warrior, and this is why they only use their magic in times of need. Taha Aki was bodiless for a long while. He felt doomed. He would never cross over to the final land where his ancestors waited. The great wolf followed Taha Aki's spirits through the woods. Taha Aki was jealous of the wolf, and then he suddenly had an idea. He asked the wolf to make room for him so they could share the body, and the wolf complied. It was not his human body, but it was better than being doomed in the spirit world. Taha Aki then returned to the village. People ran in fear from the wolf. Warriors ran out with spears. Yutapa stayed hidden safely away. Taha Aki didn't attack his warriors, but slowly retreated from them, trying to speak with his eyes and tried to yelp the song of his people. The warriors began to realize that this wolf wasn't any ordinary animal. There was a spirit influencing it. An older warrior, Quileute, decided to disobey the false chief's orders and tried to communicate with the wolf. As soon as Ute was in the spirit world, Taha Aki left the wolf, and the wolf waited tamely for him to return. Ute learned what happened and welcomed his true chief home. Utapa finally came to see if the wolf had been defeated. When he saw Ute's body, he instantly drew his knife and raced to kill him before he could return to his body. Utapa yelled traitor, and the warriors didn't know what to do. Ute jumped back into his body, but Utapa was ready and had a hand covering his mouth and a knife to his throat. Taha Aki's body was strong and Ute was old. Ute couldn't say anything to warn the others before he was killed. Taha Aki watched Ute's spirit go to the final lands. Taha Aki felt a great rage, more than before, and felt more powerful. Taha Aki entered the wolf's body once more, intending to kill Utapa. But Taha Aki's anger was the anger of a man. He was too human now. Before, he was full of love for his people, and the hatred was suppressed. The wolf shuddered, and before everyone, he transformed into a man. The man didn't look like Taha Aki's body. He was more glorious. He was the flesh interpretation of Taha Aki's spirit, and the warriors recognized him instantly because they had flown with Taha Aki's spirit. Yotapa tried to run, but Taha Aki had the strength of the wolf in his body and caught and crushed him before he could jump out of the stolen body. People rejoiced when they realized what had happened. Taha Aki quickly set everything right and was working with his people again and gave the young wives back to their families. The only change he kept was ending spirit travels. He knew it was too dangerous now that stealing life was there. So the spirit warriors were no more. From then on, Taha Aki was more than a wolf or a man. They called him Taha Aki, the Great Wolf, or the Spirit Man. He led the tribes for many years and didn't age. When danger threatened, he would transform into a wolf and frighten the enemy. Taha Aki fathered many sons, and some of the sons, after reaching the age of manhood, could transform into wolves as well. They were all different wolves because the spirit wolves reflected the man that they were on the inside. Quill shocked Bella by interjecting, "So that's why Sam is all black. Black heart, black fur."
Sorry.
No, I was like, "Quill, why are you interrupting?" And then I saw it. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Bella suddenly realized the circle was made up of Taha Aki's great, however many grandsons. Sam tells Quill his chocolate fur reflects what? How sweet he is? Billy ignored them and continues. Some sons became warriors with Taha Aki and no longer aged. Some didn't like the transformation and refused to join. They aged again. The tribe discovered that the wolf men could grow old like any other man if they gave up their spirit wolves. Taha Aki lived the span of 3 old men's lives and had married a third wife after the first 2 had died, and he found in his third wife his true spirit wife. He thought he loved the other 2, but this was something else. He gave up his spirit wolf so that he would die when she died. Old Quill continues that was the story of the spirit warriors. This is a story of the third wife's sacrifice. Many years after Taha Aki gave...
Real quick, who continued? You said Old Quill?
Old Quill, sorry. Quill's grandfather.
Oh, I love that in your notes. Old Quill. Okay, Quill's grandpa.
That's what they referred to him in the book as.
Old Quill? Damn! That's kind of ruthless. Imagine that. Like, you and your kid have, like, same names or similar, and all of a sudden you're old and they're young, and it's like, all right.
Rude. Thanks for reminding me.
Death marches for us all. Okay.
Sorry. Quill's grandfather.
Old Quill. I like it.
Old Quill. Forgot about that. Old Quill.
Oh, Stephanie.
Many years after Taha Aki gave up his spirit wolf when he was an old man, trouble started in the north. Several young women of the Macaw tribe had disappeared, and they blamed it on the wolves. The wolf men could still read each other's thoughts while in wolf form, and they knew none of them were to blame. Taha Aki tried to make peace with the Macaw chief, but that was not successful. He was too old, so he charged his eldest son to find the true culprit. Taha Wi, led the 5 other wolves to search and came across something they never had before, a sweet scent that burned their noses to the point of pain. Bella shrank into Jacob's side and his arm tightened around her. I had to add that in there because what the
Here's the thing. Arm around her, like, no. If you're dating someone else, you don't let someone else, like, put their arms around you, and you don't, like, not, no. Outside of family, which I can't imagine family doing that. Can you imagine your brothers doing that for you? Yeah,
Not since I grew up.
exactly. Like, it just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
It's just, yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like it.
I don't, again, elements of a red flag. Elements being a situation arises that Bella could correct because it could lead to misunderstanding, and she doesn't.
So, old Quill continues the story. They didn't know what creatures would leave this scent, but they decided to follow it. They found faint traces of human scent and blood along the trail. They were sure that this was the culprit. The journey took them far north, and Taha sent half the pack back to the harbor to report back to Taha Aki. Taha and his 2 brothers didn't come back, though. The younger brother searched for them, but didn't find them. Younger brothers. That was plural, sorry. Taha Aki mourned for his sons and wanted to avenge his son's death. He went to the Macaw chief in his mourning clothes and told him what had happened. The Macaw chief believed him, and this ended the tension between the tribes. A year went by, and 2 Macaw maidens were taken. They called on the Quileute wolves at once. They found the same sweet stink, and they once again went on the hunt. Only one came back this time. Quileute, Yaha space Uta, the oldest son of Taha Aki's 3rd wife and the youngest in the pack. He brought back with him something no one had ever seen, a strange, cold, stony corpse that he carried in pieces. Quileute tells what happened. They found the creature with 2 girls, one already dead and the other in the creature's arms, his mouth on her throat. His lips were white, covered in blood, and his eyes glowed red. He was strong and fast. The creature tore apart one of his brothers. Quileute and his other brother were weary. They worked together and found only their teeth could damage it. They started to rip small pieces of the creature apart while it tried to fight them. The creature learned and soon was matching them. It got Quileuta's brother, and Quileute lunged for his throat and tore his head off, but the hand continued to mangle his brother. Quileute ripped the creature into chunks in attempts to save his brother, but he was too late. Quileute brought the remains of the creature to the elders. They poked it with a stick, and the hand reached out to the arm piece, trying to reassemble itself. The elders set fire to the remains. When there was nothing but ash left, they took the remains and separated it into many small bags and spread them far and wide. Taha Aki even wore one around his neck so he would know if the creature tried to put itself back together again.
Smart.
Yeah. Spread everything else out and keep one? Yeah.
That's smart. That's very smart.
Very smart. Billy pulled out a small hag hanging around his neck, and some people gasped. They call them the Cold Ones, the Blood Drinkers, and lived in fear that it wasn't alone. They only had one wolf protector left, Quileute. Not long later, the creature's mate came seeking revenge. The story goes that the woman was the most beautiful thing human eyes had ever seen. The sun was shining for once, and she entered the village. She came, the sun glittered off her skin and lit her golden hair. She asked something in a high, piercing voice in a language they didn't understand. They didn't know how to answer her. A small boy screamed. One of the elders realized what had come, and he told people to run. There were 20 witnesses to the cold woman, and only 2 survived, only because she was so distracted by the blood. They ran to Taha Aki, to the elders, his son, and his third wife. Quileute transformed and went to destroy the blood drinker alone. The rest followed behind him. At first, they couldn't find her, but heard screams coming from the harbor. Some people had run to the ships, but she swam after them and broke their boats. She saw the great wolf on shore and swam to Utah. She asked him another question they couldn't understand. It was a close fight. Ute lost, and Taha Aki screamed. He shifted into an ancient white muzzle wolf. The wolf was old, but his rage made him strong, and the fight began. Taha Aki's third wife had no hope that he could win. She had heard everything and knew from the victory that his brother's diversion saved Utah. She grabbed the knife from the belt of one of the sons next to her. They were all young and were not men yet. She knew they would all die when their father failed. She ran to the cold woman. The cold woman smiled. This barely distracted her. She had no fear of the woman or the knife. The wife suddenly fell on her knees and plunged the knife into her heart. Blood spurted through her fingers and against the cold woman. The cold woman couldn't resist and instinctively turned to her. Taha Aki's teeth closed around her neck. The rage 2 of their sons felt while watching their mother die triggered 2 of them into their spirit wolves, and the 3 of them finished the creature. Taha Aki never rejoined the tribe and never turned into a man again. He laid next to his wife for a day and would growl whenever anyone tried to touch her. He then went into the forest and never returned. Taha Aki's son guarded the tribe until their sons were old enough to take their places. There were never more than 3 wolves at a time. Occasionally, a blood drinker would come through, but they were taken by surprise. Sometimes a wolf would die, but they were never decimated like the first time. They learned how to defeat them and passed that knowledge on. Time passed, and the descendants no longer became wolves when they reached manhood. Only if a cold one was near would the wolves return. The cold ones always came in 1s and 2s, and the pack stayed small. A bigger coven came, and your own great-grandfathers prepared to fight them off. But the leader spoke to Euphorium Black and promised to not harm the Quileutes. His strange yellow eyes gave proof of claims that they weren't the same as the other blood drinkers. The wolves were outnumbered, and the cold ones could easily take them. There wasn't a need for the treaty. Euphorium accepted, and they've stayed true to their side, though their presence does tend to draw in others. Their numbers have forced a larger pack than the tribe has ever seen, except in Taha Aki's time. And so the sons of the Quileute tribe again carry the burden and share the sacrifice of their fathers before them endured. After a long silence, Quill scoffed, burden. He thinks it's cool.
I'm with Quill, man. Like, do you know how cool that would be? Like, do you know how fun you and I just shift into wolves and then we can go running with Zeus and Ruby? so much
Yeah,
fun.
but you would be stuck with all this.
Yeah.
All my
Yeah.
thoughts ever
All my
are
thoughts.
boom in your head.
All
And
I
vice
ask is
versa.
you don't judge too harshly. Because
Girl,
if you
we
do,
wouldn't
I'll
be.
know.
I don't think either of us, like either way, I don't think we would be able to judge if it went both ways. I heard
Exactly.
everything, you heard everything, just be like, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're just locked box. How we deal with trauma and everything else bad in our lives. Locked box.
Gone far away.
Yes, just in the middle of the ocean. Bye-bye.
But yes, I think it's very cool. I'm with Quill too.
I do think that is annoying, again, not having your own privacy, but like
Win some, you lose some.
win some, you lose. You get to be a freaking wolf. You get to be strong. You get to be warm all the time instead of cold.
I wish.
Yeah. Like it's I'm sensing a lot of upsides. Ooh, grocery bill. Grocery bill.
In this day and age, ooh.
Ugh. Oh, and you are a little more rageful. We're rageful now, but we keep it in. Maybe
You know, if my rage came to the surface slightly more than it normally does, that's fine.
same in my line of work, actually. Yeah. Or soon to be. Yeah. Okay, not a lot of downsides is what we're getting at.
So across the fire, Seth's eyes are wide. Billy chuckled after a while, and suddenly it was just their circle of friends. The conversation started up again. Leah's eyes didn't open, and it looked like a tear was on her cheek. Because she finally understands. After so long, she finally gets to understand what happened.
That's got to be a large like relief and also pain because then like you really can't be mad at Sam. Like he had no
Yeah,
choice.
he had no choice.
Yeah. But that's also so unfair because you're like, really? Like fate just like took away everything we had? Yeah, that's just a rock in a hard place, nowhere for that anger to go.
So sad. Jacob and Bella sat in silence. Bella was deep in thought about the story when Jacob shakes Bella's arm, saying, "Come on, Bells, we're here." Bella was confused, and it took her a minute to realize that she was in Jacob's car. Bella gasped. She fell asleep. She started to panic. Where was her phone? How late was it? Jacob tells her it's not even midnight yet, and he had called Edward for her. He is here waiting. Wow.
So she was so comfortable with Jake that she fell asleep in his arms.
Correct.
Why does this feel like the bear with me, it's cringe, but when everyone would post the clever line, "Oh, you may have history with him, but you have chemistry with me," and people are like, "When'd you get your class schedule?" But like that's what this feels like.
That is what this is.
Yeah.
Jacob smiles and says he figured if he played nice, he would get to see Bella more often. Bella thanks him for tonight, and he really means it. Jacob laughs and is glad she liked it. It was nice for him to have her there. Edward was in the distance, and he was pacing back and forth. Jacob notices and says he isn't very patient, but go ahead, but come back soon. Bella promises. Jacob tells her to sleep tight tonight. He'll be watching out for her. Bella tells him to get some rest, and he says sure. Edward catches Bella at the boundary line, and Bella starts apologizing for falling asleep, which I don't like. That's an icky, like, it's my background. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
watch the toxic episode if you really want to know more, but it's just, I feel that panic
Yeah.
because of that situation.
Yeah.
Because I've been in those situations. Like if I didn't respond back within a certain amount of time, it would be like, oh my gosh, just pure panic. Like I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No.
No. See, I was thinking the one time I got in like big, big trouble. Like, I mean, like, my dad was screaming mad. Was I accidentally fell asleep at my high school boyfriend's house.
Oh.
Yep. And so I woke up at like 3:23 a.m.
Oh,
I remember it because I looked at my phone and
You
I
were
went,
so panicked.
because midnight was my curfew.
Oh.
And I was like, but you know, having grown up in similar, like, that was
A curfew is a curfew. If you're a minute late, if you're 10 minutes late, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Late is late.
Yep. And if those of you who are thinking like, well, at that point you're late, you might as well in for a dime, in for a dollar. No. Like, it's bad regardless, but it gets progressively worse. Yeah, so I thought I was gonna be lucky, but I'm like, I didn't have a house key, so I'm like, I can only get in through the garage, which is under my parents' bedroom. Yeah, so my sister had texted me at 1:30, like, get your ass back here, like, you're in trouble. And I didn't see it, obviously, because I was unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got home and my dad was sitting in that chair,
Oh,
walking
no.
in from the laundry room. I
Oh,
opened the laundry room
no.
door and he was sitting right there. And I was like, literally, I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, my dad never beat me. No, good dad.
Yep,
but
yep.
like, just like, you can imagine, given what he saw in his career as a lawyer, like what he was imagining had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not good because I didn't text him either. I didn't text anyone that I was on my way back.
Yeah.
I think, no, he called.
Is that what woke you up?
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember looking at the clock, seeing 3:20. He called. Yeah, he did. Oh, I think I blanked that part because I was literally like, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. I'll go home right now. And like, my high school boyfriend was the biggest goody two shoes in the world, was mortified. He's like, you need to go home. Like, are you safe to drive? But you need to go home. And I'm like, yeah. I was in a lot of trouble. So, like, when we were picturing the situation, you've got that background, I got that one. Neither one is a good one to put in that situation. But, like, God, I still feel like the panic of just, like, opening that laundry room door.
I had the anxiety already going from, like, that and that just, like, I'm like,
yeah, you know my family well. If you know that childhood household, you imagined it.
I pictured everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was doing one of those where he's leaning forward and he's on his knees, and I'm like, I believe the phrase today is chat, I'm cooked. Like, apparently that's when something's bad. You say, chat, I'm cooked.
I mean, I knew I was out of the loop on the lingo, but what?
Girl, I learned stuff from my niece and then like random memes and then the younger people in my classes. And I'm like, what?
I'm out of loop.
Skibbity Riz apparently is a thing. Bad Riz. Skibbity is bad.
Cool.
I had to ask Josie for clarification. She's 11 and a half. Not quite half yet, but like, yeah. I had to ask her last time I was having an auntie day with her. I'm like, what is Skibbity? She goes, bad. I'm like, Skibbity toilet? Bad toilet. It's a creator. And I'm like,
I was thinking of like skippity doodah, like yay, happy.
no, Skibbity. Yeah, and Riz is charisma, apparently.
Okay.
You know, it's a little rough. The more I hear, the more I'm like, all right, my future children are not allowed on the internet until they are much older. Or I at least warn them. I don't know how much you can warn them about the depravity of the internet, but a little bit of a tangent there. But anyway, Edward is panicking.
Well, Edward catches her at the boundary line, and then Bella starts apologizing for falling asleep. Edward tells her that he knows Jacob explained. He tells her he'll get her home and in bed, and then he asks if she had a nice time. She did. It was amazing. So amazing, in fact, that she can't even explain it. Billy told old legends, and it was like magic. I enjoyed reading that so much. So much, which is why you guys got such detailed notes on that. Because I'm like, this is amazing.
That's why I wasn't interrupting. I'm like, I just want to hear.
I figured. I'm like, we're enjoying the storytime right now.
I'm like, I'm loving this.
I know,
Oh,
honestly, every time like it was a little interruption from like someone, I was like, shut up, Billy's talking.
yes. Except for Quill. I did like Quill's
Except
interjections.
like
Oh, that's so interesting though, because by the logic of the story, that Taha Aki,
Taha
sorry
Aki.
guys,
We tried. Hopefully I
we
didn't butcher it too bad for you guys.
no, we're trying our best. We're acknowledging. But it's very interesting that like his now human form was like his spirit form, where I'm like, that makes me think that Jacob and the boys should look different now. Like if they're transforming more to their spiritual look.
As
Maybe that's the
so now
aging.
it's different. So that was for Taha Aki because he didn't have a body
Oh
and he went into the
yeah.
wolf first versus all the other
We're
people, they were
born.
born boys, and when they became men they turned into their wolves, so now their
Gotcha.
wolves reflect their spirit versus as with Taha it was the spirit reflected him.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know.
hopefully that
It's
made
still
sense for you guys.
no, it did. I was just thinking it through and I'm like, okay, no, that makes sense. And then my next thought was, why don't we get more about this stuff? Again, I would read the books on the Quileute group, like the tribe.
Same.
I'd be like, that sounds interesting.
If there was a story about the Quileutes, I would be eating that up and I would not be talking crap about it like I'm talking about these books.
Hmm?
I do enjoy books, guys. I don't enjoy hating on books.
No, 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 no. We both avidly read when we
Yeah,
have time.
when we have time.
Yes. This is not a matter of like, books. No, it's a matter of, this writing.
Yeah. But that, so Stephanie is an amazing writer because she just proved that.
Yes. It's,
Yeah.
I
And
don't
that's all I
know.
have to say.
Yeah, she can. Although, actually, didn't she get a lot of. I could be wrong. Someone correct me. I thought I remember in like a behind the scenes or an interview with her back when I was real into this. Um, she had like actually consulted with the Quileute tribe because like I
Oh,
believe
did
the Quileute is an actual
oh, it's a
tribe.
legit tribe?
Yes, I don't
Oh.
know if their name is exactly the same, but like it's a lot of their stories and like she had actually like gotten some outside stuff. So I would not call all this original source material
Okay.
from her. Maybe it was, maybe I'm misremembering, but like this is written well.
Well, either way, it's really cool. And
It
let me
is.
know if the Quileute is a real tribe because that'd be interesting.
That'd be cool. Also,
Even for a who knows what Wednesday, that would be cool.
that would be a good one. Also, I do like, I forgot to say this earlier because, well, I didn't forget. I just didn't want to interrupt the story.
Oh, because it was a good
It
story.
was a good story. I loved the part where they described the vampire smell. So sweet that it was
Yes.
sickly painful.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so much
And
like
it
that.
stung their nose.
It's descriptive enough to me that now I'm like, oh, like I get it now. Like what Jacob, when he's saying, Bella, you stink. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting at why he's like recoiling. It's not him being a dick.
It's
Like
because it's
it's
physically different to
painful.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's that sweet. So I'm like, that makes it make more sense.
In my mind, I'm picturing, you probably won't understand this. I am smelling the diabetic people when their sugar gets high enough. They will
Is that
like,
the ketoacidosis?
yeah,
How the hell did I know that? Anyway, keep going.
diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA. Maybe we've had this talk before,
Maybe.
but when it gets so high, their
They're
body is
sweet.
trying to get rid of sugar as much as they can. So they're like sweating it out, they're breathing it out. And people either smell super fruity, like my partner told me the other day, because we had a patient that was in DKA. My partner told me, he's like, I just smelt Fruit Loops. And I'm like, I smelled acetone. So you either get one or the other. And that is all that I'm picturing with the sickly sweet. I'm smelling the DKA patients.
Yeah. Granted, if you don't have a lot of processed food for a while and then you do smell something like Fruit Loops, it's going to smell chemically.
Yeah.
Which then you kind of realize, like, oh, what else is like really weird? And like maybe we've gotten desensitized to it. That could be its own episode. But anyway,
Yeah.
but no, I want to know. Like, I don't remember if we get a descriptor, because like Jacob at some point between either this book or Breaking Dawn, I think it's Breaking Dawn, we get some chapters from his point of view. Don't get your hopes up. Stephanie's still writing. I know. But I would love for him to describe. No. Sorry. I flipped it around in my head. But I would still love to have a description of like what the vampires are smelling on the werewolves.
Yeah, because they just smell bad.
Yeah. Well, and like Alice is like, you smell like dog.
Yeah.
And again, connotations on that. But I'm like, what does that mean to me? Because like with both of us having dogs, like dogs have an array of smells.
They can.
They can. But like none so bad that like you cringe back like that unless it's like a really sick dog.
Smelly, wet dog that rolled in something dead. And other feces.
Actually, I'm imagining that. Yeah, that could be bad. But like, give us that descriptor then, because that would explain some other things too about why you guys are having such a visceral reaction
or
to
like
each
a
other.
dead skunk or something. Like, what do you smell?
Like, you can't just say stunk.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't give me enough here. Because some things I'm like, oh, I don't mind that smell. Other people are like, ugh, like Japanese cherry blossom, which is actually that scent might be banned in other countries because of some of the chemicals. Shocker, Bath and Body Works here, a lot of chemicals. It's not great. Anyway, they have a very popular scent called Japanese cherry blossom, and I personally like the smell of it. But I know some people, it's like nauseatingly sweet to them, and they hate it.
Edward tells her she'll have to tell him after she's slept. Bella yawns and says that she won't get it right. Bella got home and Charlie didn't give her much trouble. Bella suspected that Jacob called him too. Bella went upstairs and waited for Edward to come back. Suddenly, Edward slid inside and Bella asked if Jacob is out there. Yes, he is somewhere, and Esme is also on her way. Bella sighs, it's so cold and wet. This is silly for them to be outside standing guard. Edward laughs. It's only cold to Bella. Bella had a nightmare that night that she was outside in the storm and she was on the first beach seeing moving shapes. At first, there was just a flash of white and black. Rosalie was there and she was lunging at an enormous wolf who Bella recognized to be Billy Black.
Billy?
Billy Black.
Interesting. Okay.
She broke into a run and tried to scream, but she couldn't. She tried to wave her arms and something flashed in her hand. She had a long, sharp blade, old and silver, and it had dried blood on it. Bella woke and realized that Edward was there. He asked if he woke her. She tells him that she had a bad dream, but will tell him in the morning if she remembers. Edward is reading Worthington Heights. He doesn't like it, but she left it out, so he is starting to sympathize with Heathcliff in a way he didn't know was possible. Bella sighed and fell back asleep. In the morning, Edward asked about her dream, but she could only remember pieces. Bella dressed and noticed the copy of Worthington Heights lying open on the floor where Edward dropped it that night. Bella picked it up. 3 words caught Bella's eye.
The book.
The book is back, guys. I didn't pick this up at all last episode.
Yeah. That was nice.
That was nice.
That was nice. No direct quotes.
No trauma time. Well, I had quotes, just little quotes.
Little quotes, yeah.
Okay, so essentially it's Bella picks up the book and starts reading it. And there you see the distinction between our feelings. He had been in my place and I in his. Though I hated him with a hatred that turned my life to gall, I never would have raised a hand against him. You may look incredulous if you please. I never would have banished him from her society as long as she desired his. The moment her regard ceased, I would have torn his heart out and drank his blood. But till then, if you don't believe me, you don't know me. Till then, I would have died by inches before I touched a single hair of his head. 3 words that had caught my eye were drank his blood. I shuddered. Yes, surely I must have dreamt that Edward said anything positive about Heathcliff. And this page was probably not the page that he had been reading. The book could have the book could have fallen open to any page. End of chapter 11.
Wow, that was some impressive backbending to get to that conclusion she had there.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10, National Olympics. Woo! Man, also, is that actually a direct quote from Wuthering?
Worthington Heights? I've never read it.
I've not either.
No. Let us know if it's good. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Is it worth your time? Is it not?
I don't know. I truly don't know. I have a love-hate with old books.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm like, I can vibe. Other times I'm like, ugh, this is a little pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's also how I feel with Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. Although I do like, just as a basic, the movie reenactment with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
I have not seen it.
They didn't make you watch that in school?
No, we watched the original.
We watched the original and then we watched the Romeo and Juliet in Hollywood or whatever it is in California. No, it's literally the exact same script.
Just in modern times. I've seen clips of it, but I've never watched it.
No, I actually enjoyed that. I'm like, this one, I can vibe with it. But like, maybe that's because young Leonardo DiCaprio, very attractive. Any final thoughts?
I loved the backstory, and I cannot say that enough, but I really enjoyed it.
This was good. This was a good one.
This was a good one. We don't normally end episodes this way, but I'm happy.
No, we ended on a very good note.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Any final thoughts from you?
Remember the good.
Remember the... Oh, no. Gosh,
remember the good.
It can never end on, yay, we're happy.
No. Sorry, honey, I'm a realist. No. And I'm not going to delude you into saying, no, it'll all end up well. Bella and Jacob will be together forever.
Well, I know that's not going to happen, but I just don't. I have a fear that Stephanie is going to destroy Jacob for me.
Mayhaps.
Yeah. I'm scared because I love Jacob. And if she ruins him, well, it's going to be like the last 15, 20 minutes of New Moon, the movie, for me.
It doesn't exist. Yep. Yeah, this would have been such... This still vibes with the New Moon. That, but minus the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, chemistry. There is chemistry.
There's just... Okay. I'm going to say this. Y'all might not agree with me, but Jacob and Bella have chemistry. Bella and Edward have lust.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
For her, it's lust. For him, it's bloodlust. Tell me I'm wrong. I can't. Exactly. And I just realized at certain angles, Rudolph gives me horns.
Oh, if you're not checking out the video, you should go check out the video.
I mean, depending who you ask, it's accurate, so it's fine.
Okay.
On that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. It's either that or it's like a croissant.